taking one last look, sir.
Here at The Things, we love a good fan theory, and the more over the top, the better. Disney fans are definitely creative, and sometimes they get it right when it comes to their predictions. Let's take a look at some times when fans predicted the future when it came to upcoming films.
Dishonor on you! Dishonor on your cow!
Sarah Jeffrey didn't appear in Descendants 2 due to a scheduling conflict, but we had a feeling she'd be back and with a vengeance in the third movie. Many fans thought Audrey would be an all-out villain in Descendants 3, including us here at The Things. And while we don't like to brag, we were right about this one. And so were many other fans who made the prediction. Audrey did steal the Queen's crown and Maleficent's scepter from the Museum of Cultural History, and use them to continue her crusade against Mal. If you're already making predictions for Descendants 4, Sarah Jeffrey did say that she'd love to see Audrey going from an all-out mean girl to having some friends of her own.
I was hoping you were home.
The first Frozen movie had us all singing Let It Go and trying to figure out answers for the many questions the first film didn't answer. One big question mark was regarding the fate of Elsa and Anna's parents, but many fans held out hope that this would be addressed in Frozen 2. We did end up finding out the truth when Elsa and Anna stumbled upon their parents' wrecked ship, which is actually kind of grim for a kids' movie.
Elsa, I want to know what happened to them.
Although this proved what some fans had predicted, it actually disproved what co-director Chris Buck said about their parents going on to have Tarzan and live out their final days in the jungle. Chris admitted at D23 that these Disney characters are not related, so that's one theory we can finally retire. Vampires are used to being romanticized in works of fiction, but zombies, not so much. So it was fun to see them dancing, singing, and not eating brains in Disney Channel's movie Zombie. When the trailer for the sequel came out, we realized werewolves were being added to the mix, and that Addison seemed to get involved with this new pack. Many fans, including Reddit user u/truth14full, believed Addison would become a werewolf, and since her white hair was glowing at the end of the film, this seems to confirm that she is the great alpha they were looking for. When is Zombies 3 going to come out? Disney's Moana broke a ton of princess tropes, but some fans still managed to make accurate predictions, including the Super Carlin brothers. They predicted that the ships from the beginning of the trailer were once owned by Moana's people and were the same she discovered in the cave. If you've seen the movie, you know that Moana does learn that her people were once voyagers who traveled all over the ocean, which inspires her to go on an adventure of her own.
Ocean is a friend of mine.
The animated version of Disney's Aladdin came out all the way back in 1992, but there was one fan theory that had people speculating for years. The film features the iconic voice of the late great actor Robin Williams as the genie, and he had a huge impact on the big blue character we all know and love. We might even call it a one-of-a-kind performance, except for the fact that the genie was an awful lot like one particular merchant who also appeared in the film.
Please come closer. Too close, a little too close.
Some fans argued he was really Genie in disguise since he only had 4 fingers and was also voiced by Robin Williams. Aladdin directors Ron Clements and John Musker finally confirmed this rumor, stating that originally the merchant's true identity was going to be revealed, but this part of the plot was edited out due to time constraints. Going into the third Descendants movie, fans were eager to know who Mal's biological father is. We knew her mother was the glamorous yet terrifying Maleficent from Disney's Sleeping Beauty, but her father was a mystery for the first 2 movies. Some fans suspected that he was a human, which is why our Mal has a much more tender heart than her mother. But one hot theory going around was that her father was none other than Hades, the god of the underworld. And the Disney Channel movie proves, Hades, you are the father. Yes, Mal is officially a demigod, so we can move on to thinking of fun fan theories for Descendants 4 now. Mistress of Evil is a tough nickname to live up to, but Maleficent definitely did so in Sleeping Beauty. However, Disney gave this classic villain a chance to redeem herself in a live-action movie which provided compelling motivations for some of her notorious crimes. But when the trailer for Maleficent, Mistress of Evil was released, some fans were disappointed to see that this fairy was seemingly undoing all of her character development from the first film. Ian Sandwell, writing for Digital Spy, was suspicious about Disney retconning their own retcon and predicted that Maleficent's actions in the trailer would be justified in Mistress of Evil. And after watching the movie, it's clear she acted in self-defense or to protect others she cared about.
We go home now.
We all know and love Ariel from The Little Mermaid, but there are a surprising number of fan theories out there about Ursula, from the source of her magic powers to where she got those tentacles. Many people assumed her contentious relationship with King Triton was personal and predicted that they were either once romantic partners or related to each other. Hopefully not both at the same time. This isn't Game of Thrones. According to the original script, Triton and Ursula are actually siblings. We don't know that much about merpeople genetics, but frankly, we have even more questions about the movie now.
Is to become a human yourself.
Fans eagerly awaiting sequels is nothing new, but Incredibles fans waited a long time for another movie. It took over a decade to get another glimpse of this crime-fighting family, and Tumblr user Sophicles suspected the original release date was going to pay homage to one of the Syndrome's lines from the first film.
Too late. 15 years too late.
The Incredibles had its general release in the United States on November 5th, 2004, and its sequel was set to come out on June 21st, 2019. Which would have been 15 years later. But unfortunately, we ended up missing out on this payoff since Incredibles 2 ended up swapping dates with Toy Story 4, since that movie needed a script makeover. We were so close to some serious foreshadowing, but at least we finally got a sequel. Mulan is a Disney princess that many fans feel is underrated. After all, many of the classic princesses focused on finding dates while Mulan went out and saved all of China. So while we were thrilled to see her in the live-action remake, many fans couldn't help but notice the trailer was missing a particular talking red dragon. Immediately, people were upset about the assumption that Mushu wouldn't be in the live-action adaptation, a fact which Disney later confirmed. According to director Nikki Caro, she went for a more realistic version of the story, which means no songs or talking dragons. Not to mention the fact that Mushu didn't go over well with Chinese audiences the first time around. No disrespect to the first 3 Toy Story movies, but they follow a fairly predictable formula overall. The toys leave Andy's room and then have to fight to get back home. The circumstances are different enough to be interesting each time, but Redditor, you/gaming tater tot, worried that this would be Woody's final trip out into the world and that he wouldn't return with his fellow toys.
Who needs a kid's room when you can have all of this?
And of course, that's exactly what ended up happening. Even though Andy was out of the picture, the rest of the toys returned to Bonnie while Woody opted to stay on the lam. Well, not literally. There are tons of great fan theories out there about Monsters, Inc., including which predicts that the little girl Boo grows up to become the witch from Brave. Unfortunately, that one hasn't been confirmed yet, but this one from Redditor, UCyberHusky58 has. They theorized that the CDA always knew humans weren't really toxic, even if the rest of the monsters believed otherwise. This is based on the fact that Roz wasn't afraid of Boo and eventually let Sully say goodbye without any kind of safety precautions. One of the DVD extras confirmed that the monsters scared humans for revenge, and not because they thought they were dangerous. In fact, the monsters were once humans who were shunned and then turned into the fun, fanciful creatures we saw in the movie. Based on the history, the CDA clearly knew there was no real reason to fear humans. When actor Brenton Thwaites signed on to Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales, fans suspected he was playing a character we'd seen before. During the post-credit scene of At World's End, we got a glimpse of Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann's son for the first time, and many predicted he would return in Dead Men Tell No Tales. Henry Turner was a part of this story portrayed by Brenton, and he had a much bigger role this time around. In The Incredibles, we saw a ton of modern and even futuristic technology, which led some fans to assume that the story was set in the present day or at some point in the future. But others noticed the fact that Mr. Incredible reads a newspaper from 1962 and that many aesthetic elements of the film do not seem to coincide with the 60s. According to producer John Walker, the movie was created to be an early 60s version of the future, with many older-looking elements being inspired by director Bad Bird's love of comic books from the time period. So whether you thought this movie takes place in the past or the future, you were kind of right.
Virtually and
Self-destructible and machine washable, darling. That's a new feature.
Twitter user Elizabeth Purvis shared a theory about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 that her 7-year-old daughter came up with. This clever kid asked if the pot Groot eats candy out of was the same one he grew up in during the previous film. Not only did director James Gunn confirm it, but he gave the 7-year-old full credit for coming up with the idea.
I am Groot.
That's right.
I am Groot.
No!
Tony Stark and Peter Parker officially met for the first time in Captain America: Civil War. Yet fans suspected they actually met years earlier during Iron Man 2. Tony saved a young child wearing an Iron Man mask that some thought was actually a young Spider-Man. This Easter egg was confirmed by Tom Holland, who said it came straight from Marvel Studios' head himself.
Nice work, kid.
We waited for multiple movies to find out the identity of Rey's parents, and when the trailer for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker premiered, and we heard the unmistakable laugh of the Emperor Palpatine, it almost seemed too strange to be true. Among the many theories out there was the idea that Rey was descended from the famous Sith Lord himself. In The Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine revealed that he was Rey's grandfather, although their family reunion was less than heartwarming. Are there any other fan theories lurking out there just waiting to be confirmed? Let us know which Disney details you want to see included in future films in the comments section. And don't forget to click that subscribe button for more new videos from us here at The Things. Thanks for watching!